WAOH is brought to you in part by Ohio's #1 trusted real estate team, The Young Team, online at theyoungteam.com. Welcome back as we continue our series of putting the spotlight on the great people and great things happening, of course, at Summit County Children's Services, and featuring foster families, those who have stepped up to help families in need, to help children in need. And joining us on the set right now, two foster families and, of course, adoptive parents, Jennifer and Byron. Thanks for being with us. And we'll share a little bit of your story. And the first thing I'm going to throw out there is that at this stage in your life, you could be anywhere, you could be doing anything, and you have made the choice to step up and be foster parents, to adopt children. And what was the decision making? What was it? I know you have 5 children that are biological children, or you adopted one child in 1991. Mm-hmm. Yes. You did all of this, but now here at this stage in your life, you're adopting, being foster parents. Mm-hmm. What was the decision making? What inspired you to stay with it?
Go ahead.
Love. Our life is so rich, and just the value that each child has and how precious each one is, and that we love them and that they're a lot of fun.
What advice do you give to anybody watching that might consider fostering or being involved?
Well, you don't have to go it alone. I mean, besides the agency, we're fortunate we belong to a church that has an outreach to foster and adoptive families. So they do everything from a meal to watching the children to coming and help clean. The kids have gotten to know them as aunts and uncles, so to speak, and it's been a great help to have them.
Let me go back to 1991. So you have children. Mm-hmm. And you decided to adopt. How did this discussion with your children go? How does this, hey kids, you're gonna have another sibling. How did that journey happen? How did that go?
The boys were pretty little. So I think it was just the most natural thing to have a child in our home that doesn't look anything like us. And they're still very close. Those 3 actually still live here in the Highland Square, Copley, Akron area, work in the area, and just always thought of each other. You know, we're just a family. And it was just the most natural thing. It was a lot of fun, actually. And I think important for us and our community to see what love can do.
How do you think it affected your biological children to see that you were willing to step up, and how did it affect their upbringing and the people that they are today? I have the feeling it probably made an impact on the character of who they are, because they saw our parents were willing to step up for other kids.
5 during COVID, 5 of the 6 of them were in the healthcare field. So I think that was, and 2 of our bio kids are special needs physically. So I think too that whole idea that other people are precious and valuable, and that family is important and fun, and that everybody needs a family. They're just still out there doing it, whether it's taking care of elderly. The one son became a doctor, a physician. He takes care of people every day. So I think it just builds it into your bio kids that this is how we roll. And for the hard things that come, as parents, you can help your bio kids through it as they work through things, the challenges that might come as a foster family, the grief and the loss, or the joys and the victories. You're in it together.
So if I have the math right, you were at a point in your life where you had raised 5 kids or 6 kids. Okay. And you're at a point where you have a discussion with each other about, we're going to continue fostering. How does that conversation go? And if I have the years right and the story correct, there might have been a time in your life where you were done, mm-hmm. or you were free and clear. Mm-hmm. And you could go anywhere. How does that conversation go, and what inspired you to say, you know what, we're going to go back, we're going to revisit this idea of fostering?
We started 7 years ago when our youngest biological daughter graduated college. Mm-hmm. So she was done and moving on, and I'm not sure exactly. She loves to do babies. So all of our foster kids have come as babies, infants. they're a little more physical work, but we enjoy it. We 5 we have right now all came to us one at a time from the hospital as infants, and we've now adopted 4 of them. So some come, some leave, and stay. So.
And I think it's important for people to know that everybody can do something. A lot of people our age are serving maybe at the peak of their career. I was a former high school science teacher and also a homeschool mom. So everybody brings something different to the table, but everybody can help. And, for us to do this again, it's kind of challenging maybe to other people our age that are like, what in the world? But they see the happiness we have. They see our van doors open and all these people start falling out of the van and the crumbs and the M&Ms and whatever. But the children are so loving. For a lot of our friends, I think it brings them joy just to have these little children in their life and talking with them. And maybe, for younger couples that are interested, we really encourage them. Summit County will give them the support they need. There's so much support now in the area that maybe wasn't there even 6 or 7 years ago, but just in the past few years. So for people's discussions, when they hit the challenges like, wow, that's so hard. What if they go back, or what if they go to a kin? But you got to be part of that child's story, as you know, and that's a very important role. No matter how long it lasts, it's a privilege. And also, you just keep laughing. You have to just keep laughing about the great things.
Paint a picture, if you would, of your village, your supporters. You mentioned friends or people or other family. It's certainly your biological children who are now adults and are very supportive, and that this is your village.
Yeah.
But describe, you're doing this, but you have tremendous support in respite care and in your village. Describe how those relationships work, or in what way do they really help?
Sometimes they keep you remembering there's life outside of this work. It can be isolating if you have visits to a doctor, visits to a therapist, visits with a birth parent. The rigorous schedule that way, school things, if you have school-age kids. Just being an advocate for them can be time-consuming. But our care group does things like a meal. One little guy we had surgery, foster child we have right now, had surgery recently, and somebody brought 2 days worth of meals, everything in a cooler. And, those kind of helps. Taking the kids out for holiday outings so we get a break. Just sometimes a gift card, and with a loving note, we're praying for you, or here's, go out to eat. Anything like that is a help to a foster family to know they're not alone. People want to help. This is a way they can help, and we need it.
And some of them, they come to know the adults that are helping us. For the children, they're like an aunt and uncle. That they read them stories, they do stuff with them.
And all ages, we have people in their 70s down to a lovely young gal that's due with her own child in a few months that was friends with our kids growing up in her early 30s. So I think any age, and even some of the homeschoolers in our area just had us come over for lunch. Big 17 kids from all ages wanted to hear about fostering. And they're just children and teens, so everybody can help.
Let's wrap up with the reward personally. This is extremely rewarding and fulfilling work. Sum that up for us. How does this really feel rewarding to do this work?
I watch people on TV finish a ruck or finish a triathlon as I'm tossing all these coated popcorn in my mouth, just in awe of them, thinking, wow, they really worked hard. But fostering is really hard. And it is hard work, and you got to do your best to make it good for the child. So I think the reward for us is that kind of ruck feeling like, I actually finished. It's a miracle. And maybe even just knowing that it pleases God. These children are precious to him, as you know. You don't do crazy stuff or difficult things unless there's a really good reason. And these children's value before him, that's worth it. They matter. And so I think that's my reward, because some days can be really hard. And knowing that there is something so much more important besides my messy sock basket right now, or I don't even know where that paper is, honey. It probably has a stain on it. Just find it. So knowing that there's such a bigger reason gets you through those days.
As one guy said, there's a lot of life in our house.
Oh my gosh.
That makes it all worthwhile.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, thank you for taking the time to come on and share just a glimpse, I'm sure, of what your story is and what you put into this. And thank you for watching as we continue our series on foster parenting and the idea of serving families in need and children in need and all the work that Summit County Children's Services, certainly there's a need in our community. And of course, for any of us who have done respite care or foster care work, or even just looking after the neighbor kids at any level, we all know that whether it's rooted in a faith background or not, there's great purpose in what we're doing. And all of us, you don't necessarily have to be in church every Sunday or even be a perfect person, let's say, to be a foster parent, but there's something very fulfilling. And we're hoping that somebody in our audience perhaps is inspired by these segments to take a look at summitkids.org and take a look at fostering. We'll be back with more right after this. Stay with us.